Today we're going to make the best of our space. We're going to plant vertical. I'm going to show you a little trellising trick. Well, it's the way I do it. We had a heck of a rainstorm last night, and for those who guessed beets, we're going to wait a little bit. That'll be in succession planting. We've already got more beets coming up right here. If you remember last year, the tomatoes got so heavy, pulled this pole forward, so I've strengthened this up, tightened this wire back, but that's not where we're going to plant. We're going to go over here, and then I'll show you what we're going to put in the ground. This is traditionally our tomato tunnel, and we've had beams coming up both sides, but they get heavy and start pulling over, so I'm going to put a top on here. All I've done is extended these up a little bit, put a cross piece at the top, and when we expanded the garden, I had a little bit of wire left over. This is what I plan to do with it. All I'm going to do is drape this over the top. We'll cut off whatever excess we have. That is just wide enough. I think I'd plan that out. So I'm just going to take it over the existing wire a little bit. I'm going to hook that down. Where we've got bent wires, we can go ahead and tie that all together. This is the other reason we keep baling wire around. Because you never know when you're going to need a piece of wire to wire up a piece of trellis. And would you look at that? The grape is leafing out. Once you got it secured a little bit, start wiring it down your pole and then cut off the excess at the bottom. We'll use that piece in another area. And the nice thing about this is you can unwire it and move it anywhere you want in the garden. But for right now, for this year, this is where it's going to be. Here's a good tip. Bend those sharp edges in so somebody doesn't walk by and snag on them. If you've been following my story, you know that I don't like to throw things away. Cattle panels, once they're bent, they're kind of hard to bend back. But if you're creative, it still works really well as a trellis. The reason I moved this is I went ahead and put these cross pieces in here. That braced up these main lines that kind of sagged last year. Now the piece that I cut off, we'll take this on up, we'll make it a decent sized trellis. So did you guess what we're going to plant? We're going to start off with some cucumbers. From a really fine container gardener and a friend of this channel, turned us on to these lemon cucumbers, and these are wonderful. We grew some last year. I'm going to grow quite a bit more this year. If you want to change your pace, try these. They're excellent. You can really tell a difference in the soil. This has had mulch on it for a couple years. You can squeeze it together and it still breaks right apart. I'm going to put about half this pack in here. But I like to plant heavy. I'll thin them out. Well, not really. But what I found in the deep mulch, you don't have to worry about being close together. The life in the soil provides all the nutrients your plants are ever going to need. And you've seen the results we've got. This is just the way I do it. You want to put a little more space in between them, that's good. And then just like root out, once they're on the soil, just nice soil contact. Now I am going to give them just a little bit of cover. Kind of like these straight eights also. We're going to go ahead and put these over on this other trellis. Just going to put a light little bit of mulch back over here. We're good to go. Look at that. How pretty that soil is. I know I say it over and over again, but just look at that soil underneath that mulch. I mean, I can stick my hand down in there 4 inches easy without any problem. I'm going to make a little trough back here. I'll go ahead and put these straight eights in. Oh, that was it. There weren't very many in there. Some soil contact. And we'll come back and put a little mulch on them. we're good to go. That's how easy it is to plant in the deep mulch. That really does look like we've taken a little bite out of the center of the garden, but really, by going vertical, we've increased our growing space twofold. You can do this too. Now that we got our new trellis in here, what are we gonna put on there? We're gonna have it arch over. We're gonna put some pole beans in. Let me get this mulch pulled back. We'll take a look at this soil. We'll get some beans in the ground. Now your beans, you can go ahead and start in cells and then transplant them out in the garden. You can soak them overnight. I just go ahead and plant. We've had pretty good luck doing it this way. And I put them about an inch apart. This will fill this entire trellis up. And if you want to talk about the amount of food you're going to get for the amount of seeds you put in the ground, beans are probably the highest calorie, largest harvest you're going to have. If you've been following my story, you know how many beans we pull out of here. Just make sure they got good soil contact, and I am going to cover these. With that rain last night, that soil is good and damp. I like to plant as close underneath the trellis as I can get. That way they don't have to reach very far to hook on and start going up. If you got an acorn, go ahead and take that out of there. You don't need to have an oak tree growing right in the middle of your beans. It's good soil contact. I know I keep saying it. That's all you have to do. And then just put a little bit of mulch on here to hold the moisture. And just like the beets we looked at earlier, they'll germinate right on through that, no problem. Earlier we looked at the grapes, which are on the perimeter fence. They're leafing out. We planted cowpeas over there on the perimeter fence. We've got trellises throughout the garden. We now have seeds in. We're going to have a lot growing and a lot of floor space left to fill. But we got some really cool things coming up. Hope you join me for that. Out of everything we can plant what you like to eat. You can do this too. And the reason we do it is because it tastes great. A couple sticks, a little baling wire, leftover piece of wire. You make yourself a fine trellis. There's nothing like coming in there and picking beans right above your head. And by using these techniques, I found the hardest work I ever do in the garden is harvest. Second hardest work I ever do in the garden is eat. You can do this too. And until next time, remember, take care of yourself, take care of your family, and God bless you. Come on, let's plant.
Let's go plant garden.
And if all you have is a small area, look what you can do in a container.